In a quiet corner of Europe, a once vibrant forest was fading. Once tall trees formed a lush green canopy, sunlight danced on the earth and birdsong filled the air. Now, the green was gone, replaced by dull brown. Trees stood weak, their branches bare even in summer. The sweet scent of pine was replaced by the heavy air of decay. The ground was smothered by dead leaves and dry grass, blocking new life from sprouting. Saplings struggled to break through, but most failed. The soil hardened, unable to absorb rain, leaving thirsty roots and stagnant puddles. Streams slowed, choked with mud. Wildflowers vanished. Animals abandoned their homes, searching for food and shelter elsewhere. The forest's spirit was fading, a clear sign that nature's balance was broken. It had become a ghost of its former self, a warning of what happens when a natural system collapses. The silence was heavy, the loss unmistakable. This was not just a forest in decline, it was a world unraveling. The signs of life were slipping away, leaving only sorrow behind. The forest stood on the brink, waiting for a miracle. What caused this slow disaster? It wasn't fire or disease, but absence. The forest was missing its giants, large plant-eating animals like the European bison. For millennia, these animals shaped the land, acting as gardeners and engineers. When they vanished, the forest lost its caretakers. Without them, small trees and bushes grew unchecked, blocking sunlight and choking out new life. The forest became dark, crowded and unhealthy, with little variety. The soil suffered too. Large animals once pressed old plants into the ground, mixing the soil and helping water reach roots. Without them, the earth hardened, covered by a suffocating layer of dead plants. Rain couldn't penetrate, seeds couldn't sprout, and the soil grew weak. Wildflowers disappeared, taking bees and butterflies with them. Insects vanished, and so did the birds that depended on them. The web of life unraveled, leaving an empty shell. The forest looked alive, but its heart was gone. It was a quiet collapse, a chain reaction of loss. The absence of the bison had set off a silent sickness. The ecosystem was failing, and only a bold solution could save it. The forest needed its giants back. Without them, recovery was impossible. Scientists watched the forest decline and knew drastic action was needed. Their solution? Bring back the European bison, the original caretakers. These giants are ecosystem engineers, shaping the land with their grazing and movement. The plan was ambitious, reintroducing wild bison to a landscape now shared with people. There were challenges. Would the bison have enough food and space? Would people accept them? Locals worried about safety and property, uncertain about living alongside such massive animals. But the scientists persisted, building secure enclosures and working with the community. They explained the bison's role, answering questions and sharing their vision of a restored forest. Months of preparation followed, fences built, habitats readied, fears addressed. The dream was a living, thriving forest, with bison as a symbol of hope. The project was risky, but the alternative was certain decline. The team pressed on, determined to give the forest a second chance. The return of the bison would be the forest's best hope for revival. All that remained was to bring the giants home. The day the bison arrived was filled with anticipation and nerves. Trucks delivered a small herd to the forest's edge, giant, powerful, and calm. As the doors opened, the first bison stepped onto its ancestral land, then thundered into the trees. For the first time in centuries, the sound of bison echoed through the woods. Locals watched, some anxious, others awestruck by the animal's presence. Children pointed in wonder. Even skeptics were moved by the sight. The event sparked conversation and curiosity throughout the villages. Scientists monitored the bison closely, tracking their movements and health. The bison adapted quickly, exploring, grazing, and finding water. Their presence brought hope, the first step in a grand experiment. The forest had new caretakers, and the community watched, waiting for change. The bison's return was more than a spectacle. It was a turning point. The team's hard work had paid off, but the real test was just beginning. Would the bison revive the forest? Only time would tell. 1 year later, the transformation was astonishing. The forest, once silent and dying, was alive with energy. Sunlight streamed through new clearings, warming the earth. The bison had carved wide paths, opening the forest to light and life. Seeds long dormant began to sprout, wildflowers returned, and the air felt fresh again. The thick mat of dead grass was gone, replaced by a mosaic of bare earth and new growth. The bison's hooves had softened the soil, making it fertile and ready for rain. Open spaces flourished, inviting a diversity of plants. The forest's mood shifted from gloom to hope. The bison were more than visitors, they were engineers of renewal. Their presence had jump-started a cascade of positive change. The experiment was working. Faster and better than anyone expected. The forest was waking up, its spirit returning. Life was flowing back into every corner. The miracle had begun. With sunlight and open ground, wildflowers bloomed in vibrant colors. Bees and butterflies returned, filling the air with movement and sound. Insects thrived, rebuilding the food web from the ground up. Birds followed, their songs echoing through the trees once more. The forest was no longer silent, it was alive with a symphony of life. Deer grazed in open glades, feeling safer in the renewed landscape. Foxes and badgers found more food, and the animal community grew stronger. The bison's work had triggered a chain reaction, restoring balance and diversity. Every species, from the smallest insect to the largest mammal, benefited. The forest was richer, wilder, and more vibrant than it had been in decades. The return of the bison had brought back the forest's heart. Nature's resilience was on full display. The healing was undeniable. The transformation amazed everyone, especially the once skeptical locals. They saw a forest reborn, teeming with life and energy. The bison were not a threat, they were the forest's saviors. Pride and wonder replaced fear, as the community witnessed nature's revival. The bison achieved what no machine or human could, healing the land from within. Their return restored the ancient cycle of life and renewal. This story is a powerful lesson. Nature can heal if we give it the chance. Sometimes, all it takes is returning what's missing. The bison were the key, unlocking a future of hope. Their comeback proves it's not too late to fix our mistakes. When we help nature, it rewards us with beauty, resilience, and life. Even on the brink, recovery is possible. A brighter, greener future awaits.